My name's Billy Duffy. I play guitar in a band called The Cult. I grew up, probably well known by now, I grew up in Manchester in England in the early 70s. It was when I kind of became active and interested in music and starting to learn to play guitar. And I wanted, basically what happened was when I was leaving high school, punk started to happen, and there was a guitar player called Johnny Thunders who was originally from a band called the New York Dolls, and he'd come to England and had a band called the Heartbreakers, and they were playing with all the punk bands. I saw him play, and he had this Gibson TV Junior in like a yellow single cutaway, had this like weird Chinese writing on the side, and I just so lusted after one of those guitars. So this is around 1976, 77, and like most young guitar players at the time, I certainly had no money because I didn't have a job. I was still at high school. I never actually bought this guitar. I used to actually get on the bus after school at 4 o'clock, and I used to go to this little town called Altrincham. It's in Cheshire. And they had a tiny little guitar store. It was really very small, right near the market there. And they had a TV Junior in the window. It wasn't the yellow, which was rarer. It was just the kind of wine red standard thing, but it was double cutaway, single pickup. And I used to go, and after school, this was my idea of entertainment, was to go and actually stare at the guitar. And that was a guitar I lusted after, but I never actually got it. So it was a bit of an unrequited one. So, but I used to literally salivate at the shop window and look at this guitar in the window and just like imagine. And then my first ever Gibson was actually a single pickup melody maker, which had the tiny little lipstick, like not lipstick pickup, but that tiny little anemic. And that was my first ever. It was Tobacco Sunburst. So in short order, at some point after that, most of the bands I liked, all the guitar players had Les Pauls, and the ones I liked mostly played Les Paul Customs. So really that was always my kind of dream date Gibson, was a Les Paul Custom. And then it was kind of brought up more up to date with the punk days, because Steve from the Sex Pistols used this famous cream Les Paul Custom, and Mick Jones from the Clash used one. So we were talking 75, 76. By 79, I'd managed to get a cream Les Paul Custom, but I honestly don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it, I don't know how I got the money, but I ended up with that. So my actual first Les Paul was a kind of a creamy Les Paul Custom. Cut to 10 years later or 9 years later, I've subsequently ended up in the Cult, gone on to have something of a decent career, and got to play pretty much at the peak of our success in the late 80s, early 90s. I got a phone call from my dad, all worried. He had no clue he wasn't a musician, he had no clue. He was like World War II generation bloke. And he went, some guy's been on the phone asking about a guitar. And my dad was all suspicious that this was some kind of con. And what it actually was some guy had bought that first cream custom of mine, and I'd hidden, in case it got stolen, my name and address and the phone number inside the back of where the pickup selector switch is, folded up in a little tiny piece of paper hidden in there. So if it ever got stolen, I could prove, blah, blah, blah. And some dude had bought it, had been rooting around in it, saw that thing and saw the thing. And I'd given my old phone number, which was my parents' number, which is the one we all memorize, or you do when you're my age. I remember my dad was going, no, it's okay, Dad. And I tried to explain to a non-musician the sequence of events. So that guitar, I never saw the guitar again. It never came back to me or anything, but somebody did make a call just to kind of verify that that was the true story.